Well, don't say I didn't warn you. All the people that were listening to the dollar bulls tell us how this breakout was going to lead to follow through to the upside and the dollar was going back to 100. Turns out, of course, I was right. This was a daily cycle low. As soon as we broke this low, I told traders this was going to happen. Ignore the little bounces. They weren't the damage had already been done. It wasn't going to save the dollar. Today we've got a serious breakdown below support, and I'll say this again: we've got a lot of days left before this daily cycle is going to be due to bottom. Uh, Probably not till the beginning of November, maybe into the elections. The dollar could easily come all the way back down to test this support and resistance zone here right around 91, and it may even go below that. This could turn into some kind of a crash scenario, and the reason why is because we're in this megaphone topping pattern. Here's the longer term chart. I think this is a valid pattern. This is a sign of expanding volatility, which is uh, would be expected. The Fed is raising rates. Other central banks are not raising rates. A lot of um, misguided people are expecting that raising rates is going to be bullish for the dollar, but the overall fundamentals are years and years of quantitative easing has to have consequences. So you get this violent back and forth action. The fundamentals of QE are trying to pull the dollar down and give us the consequences of that flawed monetary policy. But the rate hikes uh, are convincing traders that the dollar should go up, and so you just get this wild back and forth um, market. Uh, but the fundamentals should win in the end, and I think they are. I think today's action is probably proof that the fundamentals are going to win. And we've got the last bounce off this lower part of the pattern. The pattern or the bounce truncated. It has not been able to get back up to the top of the pattern, whereas every one of these intermediate cycles before it did. Intermediate cycle rally gets back up near the top of the pattern, back down this intermediate cycle, back to the top, and then we get two cycles down, which was a warning sign in itself, failed intermediate cycle here. Intermediate or 3-year cycle low bottom. That gives us a powerful rally, one that even goes above this intermediate peak, convincing a lot of traders that, like I said, that this breakout was valid and the dollar was heading much higher. And then the fundamentals again start to weigh on the dollar, and back down we go. And now we've got a pattern of uh, lower lows and lower highs. And we've got a daily cycle that's still very, very early in its um, in the cycle, with a lot of days yet to run. And I think there is a good chance that this intermediate cycle, this intermediate decline, could break down out of the bottom of this pattern, and then if and when it does, the dollar should crash. The breakdown from these megaphone patterns typically aren't pretty. They're pretty violent um, when the pattern finally does break out to the downside. Ultimately, this should be extremely bullish for gold. Um, you know, as I've said many times before, um, gold is one of the most heavily manipulated markets on the planet. So, in a free market, gold would be going crazy today, but the cartel is trying hard to suppress gold and keep it contained. But I think uh, when when this when the dollar breaks down out of this pattern, they're not going to be able to hold gold down much longer, any more than they could stop the baby bull. And all they did was their efforts to keep gold suppressed just made the baby bull rally that much bigger. And I think the same thing is going to happen here. The efforts to keep gold suppressed are just going to make the rally, the intermediate rally, all that much bigger and more violent than what it would be naturally if they just let the market trade naturally. So, um, just a little bit of caution still between now and the rate hike. The cartel is clearly still manipulating and holding gold down. But I just don't think they're going to be able to keep this up too much longer. Not with the dollar potentially starting to free fall.